I'm Richard, Head of Trading here at CTR. We're trying to do things a little bit different this year. We're trying to put out some short videos to bring you a little bit closer to us so you can see what the firm's about, what I'm about. It's all very well me saying that I'm an ex-bank trader, but anybody could say that. So we're just going to put some short videos together, just a few interesting stories, a few interesting tips, etc. So you can see and get to know a little bit more about me and what I've done. I got asked recently what the biggest trade is that I've ever done during my career. I was at Lloyds Bank for 20 years, and when you're a bank trader, there are two main things that you've got to do for the role. You're expected to take positions and make money, just like what we do now, but obviously on a far bigger scale. But your other main role is to service the bank's clients. Now those clients can be other banks, some of the biggest central banks in the world, and then some of your corporate customers. If you're a multinational company and you're setting up offices in Spain and you need to convert 50 million sterling into euros, that corporate company might come to the bank and say, can you execute this for me, etc. So that was a big part of the role, was executing the business. Biggest trade I ever done, I had a central bank, one of the Middle East central banks, come onto the bank, and they wanted me to buy on their behalf $3 billion against the yen. And they gave me a rate, and that rate was, for example, 110.05, and the market at the time was 110.0506, and I just had to sit there and keep buying at 05, and I would put my price out in the market on the various platforms, and the sellers in the market would sell to me at 05, and I just sat there buying and buying and buying at 05, and then occasionally the rate would go up a few pips and then it would go back down again. Usually when you get a deal of that size, you actually can move the market because everyone can see that you're doing something big. Once people can see that, word gets out on the street that Lloyds Bank are buying, etc. So yeah, the biggest trade I ever done was for $3 billion. It was literally the central bank just called up on the phone and said, can you work this order for us? Probably took me about 3 or 4 hours to do the trade. Unfortunately, from my point of view, it was quite a boring day. It was quite a very quiet day. It would have been a lot more fun if the day was a bit more volatile. I could have had a bit more fun out of the trade. Instead, I just sat there, pressed the buttons and just watched the order gradually get filled. So yeah, $3 billion. And then one of the other biggest trades I've done was for a corporate giant. They called up the previous day and they said, tomorrow we want you to buy 2 million euros against 2 billion euros against the dollar for us. We will call you up, and instead of doing it all in one go, we will ask you to do it in clips of 50 million at a time. So that's what happened. I come in the following morning, and I knew at some point this client were going to be picking up the phone and saying, buy me 50, buy me 50, buy me 50. And that's how we done it. They just come on and said, right, can you go and do the first 50? 50 million is pretty easy to fill in these markets, 50, especially euro dollar. Lots of liquidity the vast majority of the time. I bought 50 million, gave them the rate. They come back and said, buy me another 50, buy me another 50. Again, it probably took a couple of hours to do it. The corporate client didn't want it all done in one go because it can scare the market. If the clients can see that there's a big buyer out there, if the market can see there's a big buyer out there, it can affect the market. And they just wanted to get their order filled as quietly as possible. So I just sat there, 50, 50, 50. Took about 3 or 4 hours and got the order done, and it was lovely. So yeah, it's just two massive trades. It sounds ridiculous amounts of money, you know, 3 billion and 2 billion. But it's you're just punching numbers into the system and letting the system do the work, really. But there you go. Anyway, just a little interesting fact about what I've done, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.